All right, what's happening, everyone? Welcome to the second video in my series on caged chords. In the first video, we introduced the basic concept of what a chord is. We played some very simple chord shapes and talked about the anatomy of a chord a little bit. Here's a quick review of some of those key terms. A chord is when three or more unique notes are played simultaneously. A triad is a chord consisting of exactly three unique notes. No more, no less. The root of a chord is the note from which we get the chord's name. We also learned basic 3 and 4 string shapes for the chords G, C, and E minor. Okay, so what is all this caged chord business about? Let's expand on that G chord we learned in the last video. Recall that a G major chord is when the notes G, B, and D are played simultaneously. In this case, I'm playing the notes D, G, B, and G. I can also add the note B on the 5th string and G on the 6th string to create a G chord fingering in which I can strum all 6 strings. Check it out. Remember how we talked about how the order of notes doesn't matter in our chord formulas? Well, we can not only rearrange the notes, but we can also double and triple them. Remember, the definition of a triad is a chord with exactly 3 unique notes. The operative word here being unique. Thus, we can play a G chord where we play the note G on 2 or 3 different strings, or the note B or D on 2 or 3 different strings. That's what's happening in this common version of the G chord. I'm playing the note G 3 times. I'm playing the note B twice. And D once. Sometimes we even play this chord slightly different. I've heard this fingering referred to as the Nashville G, where I play D on the 2nd string instead of B. Sounds like this. Versus this. Probably hear a slight difference, right? Feel free to pause the video and take some time to play both versions of the chord and see which one feels best to you, and then go with that for now. When you're ready for a new chord, go ahead and hit play. Now let's learn the other chords that spell the word caged. We're gonna learn C, A, G, E, and D. Got it? Those 5 chords spell the word caged. C, A, G, E, D. I know, it's not very clever. It's like a bad dad joke. But let's just play each one. I recommend starting with E. So here's E. We're gonna strum all 6 strings. 2 fingers on the 2nd fret on the 5th and 4th string, and then our 1st finger on the 1st fret of the 3rd string. Sounds like this. Next we'll do A. A, we're gonna strum from the 5th string down, and we're gonna put our 1st, 2nd, and 3rd fingers in the 2nd fret on the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd string. And we really wanna make sure we get that 1st string open. Okay, that's A. Now D. D is a 4-string chord. We're gonna strum from the 4th string down. 1st finger, 2nd fret, 3rd string. 3rd finger, 3rd fret, 2nd string. 2nd finger, 2nd fret, 1st string. Okay, sounds like this. Then you can go ahead and play your G chord again, which we know. And then C. So C, I have 3rd finger on the 5th string, 3rd fret, 2nd finger on the 2nd string, 2nd finger on the 4th string, 2nd fret, 1st finger on the 2nd string, 1st fret, and then the 3rd and 1st strings are open. I only play 5 strings on this bad boy. All right, I recommend pausing the video and trying each of these chords a few times. You want to aim for a clean tone with no buzzing or muting of the strings like this. Okay? I know it's easier said than done, but do your best. Listen to the sound your guitar is making and be honest and patient with yourself. So how's it going? I bet you some chords feel harder than others, right? That's totally normal. Just take note of which ones those are and then try to work on those a little bit more than the ones that feel easier. So why did we start with these chords? These chords are immensely important, as you can play a litany of songs with just these 5 chords, but also because they provide the basic shapes for all major triads on the guitar. Remember what a triad is? Yup, a chord with exactly 3 unique notes. Eventually you will learn to move these shapes up and down the neck of the guitar and then vary the shape slightly to play any chord your heart desires. Now I will leave you with a few exercises, practice tips, and an easy song to try. All of these exercises are documented in the PDF, which is down below, all right? I highly recommend downloading that and following along as I go through these exercises. Okay, so the first exercise is really basic. We're just gonna take each chord. I'm gonna start with E, or I'll demonstrate E for this one. And we're gonna play the chord with the down strum, the whole chord once. And then I'm gonna go 1 string at a time, listening for blocked, muted, or buzzing strings. Luckily, my chord checked out, but maybe your chord sounds like this. Okay? That's fine. If you notice that a string is not ringing out clearly, try to adjust your posture, maybe rearrange the angle of your hand, and remember to use the very tip of your finger, on the string, and try to keep your fingers brushed up as close to the next fret as possible without actually touching the metal of the fret. Okay, so we don't want to be touching the fret like that. We want to be right before it, but pretty close to the next one. If that all feels good, we're going to add some rhythm to it now, okay? So we're going to stick with the E chord, just pick any chord you want, and then we're going to strum 4 times while tapping our foot simultaneously. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now try adding up strums in between each foot tap or down strum. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. You are now playing the down and up beats, all right? Or 2 notes for every beat. Notes with the length of 1/2 of a beat are called eighth notes, and notes with a length of 1 beat are called quarter notes. So if we are playing in 4/4 time, in which there are 4 beats for 1 measure, then I would get 4 quarter notes, or 8 eighth notes. Now say this as you strum and tap your foot. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. You have now played a chord for 1 measure. All right, so now we're gonna count 4 beats of rest while still tapping our foot and doing what I call ghost strumming. Ghost strumming is when I strum but intentionally miss the strings. So you'll do this, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay? Then I'm gonna pick another chord and switch to that chord. I'm gonna use A, and then strum down and up another 4 beats. Resting another 4 beats, and then returning back to E, okay? It'll sound like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. All right? I'm gonna give you 3 other combinations to try right now, and I'll demonstrate them just so you know what they are supposed to sound like. We'll do A and D. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 2 and. All right. Let's do G and D. 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 4 and then last we'll do C and G. Sounds like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Feel free to do any chord combinations you want. I just happen to pick those because they tend to go well together, but you do you, all right? So the third exercise will be the same as number 2, except now, instead of having 4 beats of rest between each chord, we're gonna try to switch the chords with just 3 beats of rest, and then if that checks out, we'll do 2 beats of rest, and then 1 beat of rest, and then eventually finishing with 0 beats of rest. Let me demonstrate using E and A only for this one, okay? So here's with 3 beats of rest. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1. Okay? Now 2 beats of rest. 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and. Okay? Let's do 1 beat of rest. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and. All right, now we're ready for 0 beats of rest. When you feel like you're ready to switch between 2 chords without any beats of rest in between them, we're gonna wanna do one very important thing. So for example, I just gave you the E and A demonstration. So let's stick with those 2. And what I'm gonna do is on my last upstrum, so on my 4th upstrum of the E chord, I'm gonna let go of the chord, giving me all the open strings being played, right? So I'm playing all the open strings right now, but this gives me enough time to switch my fingers to A so that I come down on it in time. Okay, it might sound weird at first when you do it, but I promise you, every single guitar player on earth is doing this when they play, even if they're not aware of it. You'd be surprised. It'll sound like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and. Now a little slower. 2 and 3 and 4. As I speed up, it doesn't become noticeable, right? All right, I think you got the idea. So the key here to get the chord switch in time is to keep your strumming hand moving while your fretting hand switches to the next chord. Okay? Guitar playing is all about developing coordination and independence between your 2 hands. Okay, so start super slow. This will help build the pathways in your brain, and then eventually slowly start to speed up, okay? So if all that checks out, you're ready to play some Jimi Hendrix. I know, it sounds crazy, but for real, the song Hey Joe is just those 5 chords we learned today over and over and over again. This video is getting a little long, so I'm gonna make a separate video to walk you through this song. The link should be popping up somewhere here on your screen. Go ahead and click that if you wanna go right to it. But for all other written materials and exercises relating to this lesson, please refer to the PDF below. So my last piece of advice is to be patient with yourself and to keep practicing. I can recall when I was first learning and it seemed like I would never be able to play a C chord. But with regular practice and by trusting the process, I became able to play it. Maybe you'll play a chord perfectly on your first try. Maybe it'll take some time. Just remember that guitar should be fun. So if you're beating your head against the wall, try practicing something else. Stop and take a few deep breaths, go for a walk, make a cup of tea, whatever. come back to it later. In the next lesson, I want to go over some minor chord shapes. But before I go, I must ask all of you to please subscribe and like the video. The comment section below is for you and your questions and requests or just general comments. Yeah, so thanks for taking time out of your day to watch this video. I wish you guys all the best of luck. Peace.